So Ramaphosa fires a DA deputy minister. Steenhuisen pulls the pin on the GNU grenade. So in this video, we're going to talk about what is at play here. And I'd like to see your comment below about how you think it's going to go. You ready? Good. Press like and let's jump in. So President Ramaphosa fires Deputy Minister Whitfield.
That was in accordance with the applicable constitutional section, which is section 93(1) of our constitution. The president can appoint and remove members of the national executive, and there is really no obligation on the president to give the reasons. The reasons are well known between the president and the deputy minister.
Right. So Whitfield is gone, gets his letter from the president, but Steenhuisen does not take it laying down.
House Chairperson, yesterday South Africa's future was put at stake.
Order, honourable members. Order, honourable members.
Shortly before the cabinet meeting yesterday, the President informed me that he intended to remove Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield as a Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition. I requested 24 hours to speak to Whitfield and to inform my party. However, before I could do so, just 3 hours later, Whitfield received a letter informing him of his removal. The apparent reason for this sudden and ill-considered decision is that Whitfield did not obtain permission to travel abroad earlier this year.
Minister Steenhuisen, will you get back to the topic under discussion, please?
House Chair, I'm setting out the reason why we will be voting, how we will be voting in the House today on this bill.
Order, honourable members. Honourable members.
But the facts in this matter contradict this flimsy reasoning. In fact, on the 12th of February, Deputy Minister Whitfield had written to the President requesting permission to travel. 10 days later, he had not received a reply or any response whatsoever about the trip. Whitfield subsequently wrote to the President to apologize if he had caused offence. Again, he received no response. Then yesterday, months after the incident, and without a further word on it, the President unilaterally removed a DA Deputy Minister without even giving his largest coalition partner an opportunity to discuss it with the member or his party.
Order, honourable members.
Now, According to the President's spokesperson, this move is not part of a broader reshuffle. And there can therefore be no other conclusion to be drawn that this is a calculated assault on the second largest party in the governing coalition. But
Order, honourable members.
What makes matters worse is that this unilateral action is a result and a product of a flagrant double standard. While a DA Deputy Minister is removed for not getting a response to seeking permission to travel, there are members in the Cabinet who are implicated in the VBS scandal and looting. There are members in the Cabinet.
Order, honourable members.
Who, despite apparently misleading Parliament over an attempt to deploy corrupt cadres to CETA boards, remains in the Cabinet. Serial underperformers and people implicated in state capture continue to sit around the Cabinet table. Now, instead of being summarily fired, like DM Whitfield was, these ministers get an opportunity to submit a report to the president on their behavior. In the past, even ministers who had serious public protector findings against them were merely admonished or had their pay docked. Yet a DA deputy minister is dismissed with the flimsiest of excuses. Are the people of South Africa expected to accept that fraudsters, corruption accused and Zondo accused are protected while Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield is removed? But perhaps there's something even deeper at play here. Like all DA ministers and deputy ministers, contrary to what the Honourable Tambo said, Andrew Whitfield was succeeding in his job. He had opposed the attempt to make suspect appointments to the IDC board. He was raising uncomfortable questions about the Transformation Fund and the opportunities it provides for looting. And yes, he was asking the uncomfortable questions about the Lotto Tender Award. Now, given this flagrant double standard, one is left with no choice but to conclude that hard-working DA members of the executive are fired for fighting corruption, not for committing corruption. For being good at their jobs rather than incompetent. Now, if this situation is not corrected, it will go down as the greatest political mistake in modern South African history. And so, seeing the president is now cleaning house, I would like to suggest that he sweeps in front of his own doorstep before he removes a DA deputy minister for doing his job, but isn't prepared to move other ministers and deputy ministers for not doing theirs. That is hypocrisy of the highest form, and it cannot be brooked. Now, the ball is now then in the president's court, and he must show us now that he's a man of his word. Madam Speaker, it would be very easy for a party that had been treated with such disdain from a coalition partner to vote against this bill today. But precisely because we are nothing like the ANC, the DA will always put South Africa's interests over narrow party interests. We will vote for this bill today, not for politics, but for South Africa. And in doing so, we will demonstrate to all of our coalition partners that when we give our word, you can rely on it, and that when we say we're going to do something, we will do it. However, this is now a moment of truth. Within the next 48 hours, we will find out if the DA stands alone as the only party that can be trusted to govern responsibly and take South Africa forward. Thank you very much.
So the DA gives Ramaphosa 48 hours to fire those implicated in VBS looting, state capture, and wrongdoings. So what has just happened is no small thing. I want to just read you this short passage and then give you a breakdown of what this has done in the GNU by looking at the 5 hats that Steenhuisen and Ramaphosa wear in the GNU. Thus says the Lord of Hosts, now ask the priest concerning the law, if one carries holy meat in the fold of his garment, and with the edge he touches a stew, wine, oil, or any food, will it become holy? No, the priest's answer, right? And Haggai said, if one who is unclean because of a dead body touches any of these, will it be unclean? So the priests answered and said, it shall be unclean. Then Haggai answered and said, so is this people, and so is this nation before me. So is every work of their hands. And what they offer there is unclean. The concept that's being shown here is if you have something unclean and you make it touch the clean, the uncleanness gets transferred. This is exactly where the GNU is. The GNU by nature is unclean because it's a lie. There is no GNU. You only have a collaboration of two parties. ANC plus DA equals over 50%. ANC plus anyone else except EFF or MK is not over 50% or even close enough. So the ANC had a choice to go with the EFF, the MK, the DA. The ANC went with the DA. The problem is the ANC is a racist organization with ultra-racist radicals in it amongst the slightly racist moderates in it. So the moderates think of the bigger picture, and so they then knew that it's better to go with the DA. So let's go to the 5 hats. Now, what has just happened? Hat number 1. Ramaphosa wears the institutional hat of head of cabinet. Hat number 2. Steenhuisen wears the hat of cabinet member. So, what we have just observed is a cabinet member rising up against their cabinet boss in public. The Institute of Cabinet, therefore, is in dire trouble. If Ramaphosa does not fire Steenhuisen for what he's just done, well, he's just undermined his role as cabinet leader. But it would be easy if he just wore that hat, because it's a simple decision. Fire him or don't fire him. But then Ramaphosa wears his second hat, unifier hat, which is built on a lie that he is Mandela Part 2. And I'll talk about the next hat to say why he had to perpetuate this lie. So the lie he had to come up with is, I'm just a unifier, and we now have a government of national unity, which is not. There's only one reason why the PA, the Rise Mzansi, and everyone else is in there. It's to help the lie that there is a government of national unity. Now, that second hat has just been questioned because Steenhuisen has now come out and said there is no unity here. We are a coalition that can pull back and forth. Now, that takes us to the third hat, president of the ANC. The ANC has moderates in it. They are concerned about the nation as a whole, how the economy is affected, how we come across to the markets. Under Ramaphosa's leadership, you also have the radicals. Ramaphosa passing the acts that he passed helped him to quieten the radicals in the ANC. And the reason why the GNU lie had to happen is because at least if he gets the radicals to say, no, I'm not selling out, I'm just being Mandela, the radicals can at least submit to a Mandela 2.0. But now this is what's happened. What has just happened has just messed up the unity lie, because what Steenhuisen has just done has every radical saying, you're gonna have some white men disrespect you in parliament like this. As a cabinet head, you can't just hear someone tell you to fire people and you do. As the head of the ANC, he can't fire people. He may have more than just the radicals saying you're spineless and you're being controlled by the DA. And the radicals now are saying, kick them out of the GNU. We don't care. Just let the chips lie where they fall. We can always join with EFF or MK anyway. Why do we have these whites disrespecting us? This is not the time of it. This is not the times of apartheid. So that's the sentiment among the radicals in the ANC. On the side of the DA, this is awesome. Now their leader is standing up for one of their soldiers and has responded clear enough in a way that will unify that party. Their voter base, the DA voter base, must be ultra excited to watch this go down. Steenhuisen grew a pair of sneakers and said, no ways. So the GNU lie has now demanded to be recognized, and there is no way to respond to this without someone suffering. One must die, minimum. It is a one must die checkmate situation for some hat that someone wears. But whatever happens, one must die. The DA takes one step back, they take a huge knock with the electorate. The ANC takes one step back or forward. Their punishment is an internal split. What's good for the electorate is that this noise is getting rid of the unity lie that South Africa has had to live with for a year. That monster is now coming up and saying, let's see how long you can hide me. So this is where we are, and Steenhuisen has done a masterstroke of using corruption as the tool for the ultimatum. However they respond, they can't ignore that this is around corruption. I actually wrote about it in the Soft Life, which is coming out soon. By the time you see this video, I think we'll have the barcode. I cannot wait. But that the more corruption, the less investment and the less economic growth. In effect, a country that improves its standing on the corruption index from say 6 to 8 will enjoy the benefits of an increase of 4 percentage points of investment, with consequent improvement in employment and economic growth. I get to explain this so that the most average South African can understand this. And I'm glad that you are helping us to get it out to the country. You can check at the Prosperity Catalyst Fund. Now, what comes out of this is that corruption hidden by the GNU lie, that's over. And so for the long term, not worrying about all the noise in the meantime, is that at least the GNU lie is falling apart before our very eyes, and the GNU lie only survives by pretending the corruption away and pretending that the ANC did not lose majority because of corruption. And all the noise that happens throughout the next season, however long it takes, the one thing is for certain: the unity lie used to hide a loss of majority because of corruption has fallen apart. It's now gonna become clear. Let me hear your thoughts below. No man can serve two masters. Either he'll love the one and hate the other, or he'll despise the one and respect the other. You cannot serve God, the author of Good, Bad, Right, Wrong, and Karl Marx, the author of Black, White, Revolutionary, Counter-Revolutionary. All right, let's make history together. South Africa will prosper. Cheers.